You can be the smartest person in the room, but if you can't communicate effectively, nobody knows. This applies to presentations, conversations, and even texting. Most people make the mistake of trying to sound smart instead of understood. This is Find Out with Stephen, episode 4. And today we're going to be talking about how to communicate effectively so people can listen to you. Alright, let's find out. Communication is a beautiful thing. It's something we must thank God for giving us. The problem is most people try and sound smart instead of understood, as I've mentioned before. You know that person who uses the word utilize instead of saying use? Yeah, he's trying to sound smart. But effective communication is saying use, because everybody knows what that means. Now, today I'll be talking about 3 strategies to improve your communication times 10. The first strategy is the clarity principle. The second one is the brevity or shortness principle. And then the third strategy is to listen more than you talk. Let's go into the first one, which is the clarity principle. The clarity principle is simple. If a 12-year-old child cannot understand what you're saying, you're not communicating effectively. The rule requires you to say something simply, and then if complexity is necessary, you add it after. An example is, if I want to tell a 12-year-old child I'm launching my podcast, I'll say, I'm launching my podcast about personal development. If I wanted to add complexity, I would say, using Socratic dialogue and brutal pragmatism. If I say Socratic dialogue and brutal pragmatism, the child will be confused. He wants to ask me, what does that mean? But the first part, which is simple, he understands that I'm starting a podcast. Here's a bad example of using language. Instead of saying something simple, I would say, I'm initiating a multimedia auditory platform where I talk about success principles using dialectical examination and Socratic questioning. The child will look at me like he'll be completely confused. But if you just use the simple example, as I said before, I'm launching a podcast about personal development, and I'll be asking tough questions about success and actually getting answers. That's simple. That's clear. That's the clarity principle. Say it simply. And if complexity is necessary, you add it. The second strategy is the brevity or shortness principle. And this requires you to use the fewest words necessary to convey maximum meaning. Now, let me give you 2 examples. One is verbose, which is the opposite of brevity, and the other is concise. Now, let's use the first one, which is verbose. I was wondering if maybe sometime in the week we could possibly meet, if you're not busy, to discuss the thing that we talked about before. Now, let me move to the concise example. Can we meet this week to discuss the project? Did you see the difference? Both examples mean the same thing, but one is short and the other is unnecessarily long. Why the brevity principle works is, 1, it respects the time of the other person that you're talking to. 2, it increases the likelihood of getting a response from the other person. Because when you say something and somebody understands it, it will enable them to give you feedback. And then finally, it enables you to think clearly, Because if you can't say it simply, you don't understand it well enough. Now, we're going to the third strategy, which is to listen more than you talk. Now, let me tell you something. Let me give you a secret. Effective communication is 70% listening and 30% talking. This is because if you don't understand what the other person needs, you're just making noise. Now, how can we effectively listen? First, when you're talking to somebody, don't be planning your response while the other person is still talking. Actually hear what the other person is saying. Then, two, pause for 2 seconds to actually process what the other person has said. And then respond. This shows that you're processing and replying rather than just reacting. Then finally, paraphrase what the other person said to you by starting your response with, so what you're saying is, here's an example of using this. Your friend comes to you and tell you, how far bro, my school increased our school fees by 100%. And then you reply, so what you're saying is that your school doubled your school fees. This means that if you were paying 100,000 naira, you will pay 200,000 naira. And then you reply, exactly. That's what they did. It's so cruel. Well, wow, you're such a great communicator. You understood exactly what I said. Now, that's how to listen. To summarize it all, remember that effective communication involves clarity, brevity, and listening. So say it simply, say it briefly, and actually listen to the other person. Master this, and people will call you a great communicator. Now, if you found this valuable, here's what I need from you. 1. Subscribe to the channel. I post every Sunday. Real conversations, brutal pragmatism, no fluff. 2. Follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. I post clips and daily insights. 3. Take one strategy from today's episode and apply it. And once you master it, you apply another one. So call that friend and try it out. Or you try texting. Any way you want to do it, just apply it. Because knowing something intellectually and applying it practically are two different things. And both of them are important, but application is more important. Because knowledge is only potential power. It is only power when you apply it. This is Find Out with Steven. And next week, we're going to drop part 3, which is effective decision-making strategies. Alright, see you next Sunday.